And he's God, so I think probably. Anyway,
Your audio proper tripped out there, mate. Welcome to the Bible in 1 Year podcast, brought to you by two Brits and a Bible. If you like the idea of a casual yet meaningful chat about the Bible with a couple of mates, listen in. Something in here could be good for you to hear.
Today is day 164, covering Job 40, 41 and 42. If you need a brief overview of those chapters, they're in the description. All right, well, we are going to do a rock, paper, scissors because we've got to decide who the first person is to say the verse. But just before that, I wanted to bring something in from a scholar called Mason. So this was on enduringword.com, which is one of my favorite places to get, some extra details for these podcasts. But it says, if we find it exasperating that God never gives Job any reasons for his long ordeal of suffering, we have entirely missed the point of these final chapters. While it is true that the Lord's answer to Job is neither logical nor theological, this is not the same as saying that he gives no answer. The Lord does give an answer. His answer is himself. And I just think that that's like so boom, you know what I mean? And that's exactly it. He doesn't owe us an answer at all, but the answer is him anyway. I just thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool, and that's good. And I will go down and delete my last point, which is there's no real answer as to why he suffered as he did, because there was, and it was God himself.
All right, enough. Yeah, ready? 3, 2, 1. Yes.
You're having a laugh.
I'm actually on fire, people. I needed to be because I was 6 down, and now I think it's 6-4.
Correct.
Anyway, so Job 40 verse 4. I am unworthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. So Job, obviously, before was literally demanding an audience with God. He was being a little bit of a Karen, really. And now that he's actually in front of the divine manager, the ultimate, the Alpha and Omega, he realizes that he's not even vaguely worthy to be in God's presence, even for a second. And that just points us again to Jesus and why we needed him. Because we do. That's the only way that we've got any chance of getting up there.
It's true. Very true. The point that I made out the back of that was effectively just we think we know so much until we hear something that actually changes our mind and our opinion on it. And it's good to have that humility, to be willing to sort of swallow our pride and be like, you know what, I was wrong. I'm sorry. And that's kind of what happens here.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Keep going, keep rolling, dog. You got the next
so 40 verse 8. Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify myself? Do you have an arm like God's, and can your voice thunder like his? Effectively, that was a lot of what Job was doing, really, was kind of discrediting his justice and trying to get him to justify himself. And actually, how often do we talk about authority when people aren't around? Like, how do we smack talk our bosses, our managers, or whoever, our parents, whatever it is? But it's such a dishonoring thing to do, and to do it in a way that's like almost they can't defend themselves, because he didn't expect God to rock up and just like put him in his place. But yeah, we just need to be careful how we're talking around other people.
100%. Yeah, exactly right. And it reminds me of the way that Jesus spoke about authority, right? He didn't massively talk down to authority. He said, what is Caesar's, give to Caesar, right? And yeah, he bantered with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and by bantered I mean rebuked them. But at the same time, he still wasn't disrespecting authority. He was just explaining where authority was wrong. And he's God, so I think probably anyway.
Your audio proper tripped out there, mate.
Oh, is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So Job 40 verse 15, and then to some extent Job 41 verse just Job 40 verse 15, sorry. So look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, and which feeds on grass like an ox. Many people have said that Behemoth is actually a reference to dinosaurs, and I love that idea, because a lot of atheists, they're like, oh, where's the dinosaurs in the Bible? It's like, well, Behemoth is described as a thing with, when it hardens its tail is like a cedar. And it's this enormous, it sounds like a dinosaur exactly, right? And I think I mentioned this in the Sharpen Your Sword special with Nathan, but scientists have found dinosaur collagen in the last year or two.
Yeah.
I collagen doesn't last 35 million years. Collagen at most, they reckon, lasts 1 million years.
Okay.
So there's a big difference there between the scientific current narrative and what might be the case of how long dinosaurs survived till.
Yeah.
And, bit conspiracy theory, but I love the idea that Job was there when dinosaurs were there, especially because this was in early Genesis.
Yeah, true.
Right at the beginning.
There are also a lot of sort of studies, not studies, papers, whatever we're going to call it, that points towards Behemoth being a hippo and Leviathan being a crocodile, which I think, who knows? It's kind of that same thing of like, I don't know. I personally love the idea of there being a creature in the deep that just because we don't know enough about the deep of the ocean, that there could still be something like that just lurking, just friggin', oh yeah, it'd be cool.
Dude, 100%. The one with Leviathan being a crocodile, it might be metaphorical, but it's talking about like it breathing fire and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So that, maybe crocs were different back then, but
maybe it had some hot wings.
Yeah. Some people have also said Leviathan was meant to represent Satan. So I don't know how I feel about that, but who is able to stand against me? Job 41 verse 10. God is just kind of being very clear here as well, right? Job, you can't even stand against Behemoth and Leviathan. So how on earth are you going to stand against me?
True.
And that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I had that same verse in there as well. And just that whole, like, why do we try and argue? Basically, why do we try and search out unfathomable things rather than just let God be God and just spend time in his Father's arms? It's the same kind of thing of like Archie's asking things and questions and so it's like, you don't need to know that. Just be you, be a little boy. I think we try that too much. Like we just need to lay it down and be like, you know what, God, I trust you, mate.
Yeah, 100%. That's good.
Thanks.
I like adding a finger. I saw in an episode recently, I did a finger with it, and I think that's, I don't know, quite like that. Yeah, man, you got more than me, so keep on trucking.
41, 12 to 34. Yeah, just that same thing we were chatting about, really. Is it a dragon? Is it who knows? Makes the depth churn like a boiling cauldron, stirs up the sea like a pot of ointment. Freaking awesome. Love that vision as well. But yeah, that was the kind of thing I was saying. I hope maybe there is something still down there. Who knows, mate? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think it's likely because they say that we've discovered like maybe 1% of explored about 1% of the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty pathetic, really. Last one from me. So now take 7 bulls and 7 rams and go to your servant Job and sacrifice a burnt offering for yourselves. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer and not deal with you according to your folly. Just great banter from God here. Just like, he's rebuked Job, but he's like, me and Job are mates, and at least Job's trying his best compared to you clowns. But he'll pray for you and you'll be all right. Don't worry. And I like the fact it's 7 bulls and 7 rams because 7 is the number of completion. So it's kind of like mic drop. Yeah. God's like, I've said my piece. It's all complete now.
I'm done.
Yeah,
for sure, exactly. Man. I like that same idea, really. It's like he's God 42 verse 7. I'm angry with your 2 mates because they've not spoken of me, but my servant Job has. And I think the whole thing is Job was angry with God, but he always credited him with righteousness and as sovereign. And his friends focus more on Job's shortcomings than on God's sovereignty. And then just the final point that I sort of want to make in here is how in 42:10 it says that Job had his fortunes restored twice as much as he had before. And it's just this whole thing of we will go through hardship, but trust God and he will make things okay for us in the end. It might not look how we want it to look. It might not be in this life, but if we stay true and stay trusting in God, he will make things right in the end in his time.
100%, man. I just wanted to say, when you were talking about where the focus was, I really think that that's a huge point. Like, don't focus on the shortcomings of men, focus on the incredibleness of God. So it doesn't matter how messed up you are today. We're all messed up. We're all sinners. We all fall short, right? Nothing that we can do is less than what God can take us out of. God's greatness is far better than our weakness. And I just really love that. Thank you, man. No, well, it's from your point. Anyway, I've overrun, but I apologize.
I was right, reading Psalms 1 through 8. Read it.
Yeah. Consider joining us on social media at 2 Brits and a Bible. And if you like this, please share it to help spread the word of God.